now. It's
What's
another
going on?
Saturday. Excited about today. It's going to be an
Yes.
amazing podcast. Every week, it just keeps getting, I'm not going to use correct grammar, gooder and gooder.
That's a thing. Gooder is a thing. It's
Gooder
all
is a
good.
thing? Okay, yes.
Gooder is a thing.
So,
Yes.
gooder and gooder.
I
Yeah,
agree with you though. It's been amazing.
it
It's
has
really
been
been
amazing.
amazing.
It's been
Hitting
amazing.
on some great topics. How are
Yeah.
you guys out there, real people?
Yes, we've been getting so much good feedback about the different topics and the different guests. So that's always good to know we're not the only ones that are enjoying the content and meeting all the new individuals. Hey, Brenda, so faithful. We love you and appreciate you every Saturday.
Yes, yes, most definitely. Hey, Brenda, she's always showing up.
Isn't she faithful?
Always
I,
showing up and sharing.
I feel like she will be one of the 12 disciples that was,
Yeah.
like real close to the Lord.
Yes. You can count on
You could
Brenda
count on
always.
Brenda. Yes.
And we're going to ask you guys to share if you could.
Hmm.
Hey, Kay,
What
what's
up,
up?
Kay? All the way from Florida. Come on in the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share, y'all. We are ready to bring you some powerful stuff today.
Hmm.
Um, it- I can't really put it into words. I think that our guest is going to be the best one to speak to it. But Benicia
Yeah.
and I have been blessed enough to know this beautiful woman. We
Hmm.
met her. Oh, goodness. Has it been a year already?
I think it
I,
has been a year. I think it
wow.
has. Yeah.
Amazing,
Hmm.
amazing. Shawn LaRe Brinkley, a
Mm.
powerhouse in her own right.
Yeah.
I couldn't fit all her stuff on the flyer, Benicia. I could. She had. You saw her bio. She's got a lot going on.
She's a boss for sure.
Yes, she's a boss. But you know
Yes.
what? There's a word. There's like, well, there's several adjectives, but one word for sure is heart. Her heart is
Hmm.
massive.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
She is
definitely.
just so real and such a sweet soul. And then,
Hmm.
you know, like because of the time difference, we'll get on the phone with one another. You have
Hmm.
these people in your life that, you may not talk to them for a minute,
Yeah.
but then when you do, it's like you were never apart, you
Yeah.
know?
That's when you know you have that authentic connection. It's not,
Yeah.
about the time per se,
Mhm.
the quantity is time, but it's the quality. So, when you connect, it's just like being back together. Like no time has come between you two. We got KCB Ministries, Pastor Kia,
I
live
know.
actually here with me. And it's like what you said, even, with us, KB, all of us, how, we all live in different states. But when we get on the phone or we come together, you would think we talk every day. So
Yes.
I appreciate those type of relationships. And, like you said, she exudes loving people. I think that's one of her core values as we were reading her bio. Just love people and have gone
Yeah.
through some things, right? I love her transparency. We love
Yes.
those words around here. We will say those every week for the rest of our tenure. We love
Hmm.
authenticity, we love transparency. We just love
Yes.
people who are real. Like they've gone through things. God has brought them out, but they're not afraid to share the end, the beginning. And we won't say the end because it's still rolling as long as we're living, right? So I'm excited about her today.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
too. I want to share a little bit about her because people need to know. So let's talk about this energetic spirit. And I
Yeah.
love that her bio actually states that because she is
Hmm.
a ball of energy.
She is.
And she sings as something that we have in common.
Mm.
And we haven't been able to do it together yet. So I just can't wait to
Mm.
be in person with
Yeah.
her, but she truly is a people person. She's a licensed marriage family therapist. So
Mm-hmm.
she better love people, right?
Right.
I think she was built for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And she's a certified trauma recovery specialist, but she'll be the first one to tell you when you need one of those yourself, sometimes you've got to look outside of you.
Right.
But that's why she's so good at what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's walked through life experience, and then she's able to share that life experience with her clients to help them
Right.
get through theirs, you know?
Yeah.
She's also a transformational performance coach. So
Mm-hmm.
getting people from one spot to another in
Mm-hmm.
their life and their goals is very important to her.
Right.
I want to know, there's something on here besides mindfulness practitioner. I want to spend a minute on that for
Yeah.
real. This certified laughter yoga instructor, we're going to talk about that.
Right.
And the fact that she is a speaker, a trainer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's not afraid of the microphone,
Mm-hmm.
and she is working on her doctorate in psychology. So
Yeah.
no, without further ado, let's bring the people, well-rounded person that is Shawn LaRe Brinkley to the stage. I'm so excited. Let me hit this button. I'm so excited. Hey girl.
Hey,
Hey,
Shawn.
girl. Hey.
How
I'm
are
loving
you?
I'm loving the earrings.
Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. I have to give a shameless plug. I'm a jeweler, but I did not make these. These were made by a former student of mine, and I'm so excited to be sporting her stuff because I love these are my favorites.
Yes. So
Power
cute.
to the
I'll give her
people.
name later. I'll give her
That's
name
Yes.
and how to
awesome.
find her later.
Yes.
That's awesome. Welcome, welcome. We're super excited to have you.
I'm so
Super
excited
excited.
to be here. Thank you.
Girl, when we talk about resilience, Benicia and I could sit around, your name would definitely come up. You know, your story is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I know, well, Benicia is the in-house Oprah around here. So I know she got a question in the queue for you because she has stuff highlighted, and she has cue cards that
Notes.
look,
Yes,
see?
of course. That's what we do.
So I'm
I
turning
love
the
it.
mic over to my sister.
Yes.
She's got the first question for you, sweetie.
Well,
All
first of
right.
all, again, we just want to say thank you so much. As Tanya said earlier, we met, I think, early last year, and just,
Yeah.
sitting in a environment where women were just so open and so real. And so your story really caught my attention because it was a story of, waiting, expectation, love, disappointment, and healing all like wrapped up in one. I'm like, yo, am
Mhm.
I watching Netflix or am I watching, like this
Yes.
is a whole movie that is
Yes.
like unraveling like before my eyes. And so I just want you to start with a little bit about who you are. We've read your bio, a very high level because you've done so much. We know you're a boss. But really, let's start from who you are, how you begin to tap into the gifts that God has given you. I mean, most people don't wake up and say, this is what I want to be. So, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, I definitely was somebody that thought I knew what I wanted to be from an early age, and my family. I'm blessed to come from an amazing, loving family that supported me in all my crazy. Okay, um, so as you stated, I'm very energetic. I always have been. Like as a kid, my grandmother used to say that baby go like 90 going north, or they would say, "Woo, that child don't slow down." But here's the key, y'all. What we didn't know in the 60s, because I was born in 1960, and that makes me 61 today.
You
As I
look good. Come
thank you, girl.
through.
You know how we do. But
Look
back
good.
then, we didn't know about mental health and all of those
Mhm.
things. And as it turns out, I had ADHD. I
Oh.
have, like right now, bona fide 100% ADHD.
Mhm. Mm.
But because I had the family that I had, they never made me wrong about that. So I was
Mm.
one of those kids that said, everybody always said this baby talks as much, anybody talk as much as this baby ought to get paid. So we thought certainly that I was going to be a lawyer, right?
Right.
And so everything from day one was about becoming a lawyer. But
Mm.
I was going to be a lawyer, a dancer, a
Mhm.
singer, a
Mhm.
teacher, all of those
Mhm.
things wrapped up in a little body, right? You
Right.
can relate, right? So, but then when college time came and all of that, I was
Mm.
headed down the path of being that attorney, and I
Mm.
even went as far as to apply for, get into, and drop out of law school. Uh,
Mm.
but I ended up winning a pageant in New York in my senior year in college, and so I went to Europe for my grand prize, and
Oh, wow.
I I decided that I was going to. Well, I got a job actually singing over there, so
Mhm.
went back, sang for 6 months, and then I had deferred law school, came back, and realized that really wasn't what I wanted
Mm.
to do or be.
Right.
But I still didn't really know what. But because I am always resourceful,
Mm.
I actually started freelancing all over New York City. So I worked for the Negro
Mm.
Ensemble Company. I sold subscriptions. I did so well, they hired me to do that full time.
Mm.
So I did that. I planned weddings. I did a little bit of everything. And my father finally, at one point, before all that, he said to me, "Can you get a job?" Because he was kind of supportive. And I was kind of like, "Well, no, I don't think so, Daddy." He was like,
I thought this was a good, a good
"Yeah,
partnership,
that's
right?
right, right." So I ended up getting hired by an insurance company. I only lasted 9 months. And so I would quit or get fired from all these quote unquote real jobs. I even got hired at Xerox. Oh, I shouldn't say that, but at a major copier company. I
Mhm.
went and stood in front of the building in my blue suit, and I literally could not go in the door, y'all.
Wow.
So I went and had breakfast.
Mhm.
And so I've only had one corporate job. I
Wow.
was the customer relations specialist at Tiffany and Company in Beverly Hills. I'm a jeweler, so that was like perfect.
Mhm.
Um, and I got fired from there. But what I didn't know is that God was saying, "Girl, look, I'm trying to tell you that's not your stick.
Right.
You don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not your job. That's not your thing. You got to work for
Mm.
you because you're a hot
Mm.
mess." And a
Mhm.
good hot mess, though. Like I really started to get it that just wasn't for me.
Mhm.
I became a therapist by accident.
Tell us about this accident.
Well, I was working at I had when I had gotten fired, I started teaching, and I was
Mhm.
teaching at an all African American um, charter school where it was amazing. The kids every day had a drum circle and affirmations out in the
Mm.
out in the yard, and it was amazing. And of course, they lost their funding. But
Mm.
as I started to work more and more with kids, I got a job directing an after school program, and I started to see that families were not like mine was, and
Right.
that there was a lot of trauma and kids. I mean, in 1 week, I had one child who lost his brother to drunk drivers. I mean, not a drunk driver. I'm sorry, to a drive-by shooting, and and another kid who lost his mother from an accident with a drunk driver. And
Mm.
these kids were between K and 5. And it
Wow.
just was breaking my heart. And I knew I needed to be doing something else. And my grandmother used to always say to me, both of them actually, one grandmother said, "To she whom much is given, much is required." The other said, "Much is expected."
Mm.
And I kept hearing that. And I was online one night, late at night, hit a button, said, "Want to go back to school?" And boom, all these emails. And then somebody from the University of Phoenix called me. She stalked me for a week and said, "What are you doing right now?" I said,
Mm.
"I'm leaving my trainer." She said, "Come in." And I went
Mm.
in to see her, and I left enrolled in my master's program. And that
Wow.
that's how I became a marriage family therapist. But this is the funny
Mm.
part. I left 3 to 4 days later. I left to go on a musical tour in the South. Every
Mhm.
hotel, she would send me papers. I would sign it, fax it back, sign it, fax it back. I landed the next morning. I went and met her, got my homework assignment, and the next day I started class.
Wow.
So that's what
Wow.
ADHD will do for you.
Mhm.
Girl,
I have a little experience with that because my younger son was diagnosed with ADHD, and yeah, like you know that you're built for it because God has given it, but it takes a village, as you said, your
Yes,
grandmother, you know, a great
absolutely.
family. I have friends that are joining the broadcast that helped me because I just didn't know how we were going to come out of this. But like
Yes.
God gives us clues, right? I heard TD
mhm,
Jake say that, and that was so amazing.
Yes.
So, at a young age,
yeah,
you spoke well, and so now you get paid to speak, and the traumas that you were able to kind of help navigate people, not even realizing that you were going to have some trauma in your own life. So God is so good how he
he
kind of
really
like
is.
just shapes and makes and molds us and puts inside of us what we're going to need at a later
Oh,
date. So
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I could just share really quickly, even
Yeah.
before that, I had some traumas, and I didn't
Mm,
have a lot of traumas that I grew to know a lot of women in my life to have, like sexual
mm,
trauma and all of that.
mm-hmm.
But I was going in to teach dance and took a taxi, got dragged by the taxi, and the wheel ran over my leg. Number
Oh
one.
wow. Wow.
Whew.
I was in
Mm,
a wheelchair, left the hospital in a wheelchair, then crutches and all of that.
mm,
Said I'd never dance again, all of that.
mm, mm,
That ain't true. And
mm-hmm.
then
I know that's right.
I took a taxi almost 2 years later. I took a taxi to the mall when a girlfriend came to visit. On the way back, on our way to my favorite restaurant, we got hit from behind by a truck in the taxi
My
into the
God.
pole hospital. First time I was 30 days,
Wow.
second time 6 days. And then
Mm.
2 years later, I got better and I was teaching fitness to full figure women in their home. I went to Harlem to get my hair braided, and crossing the street, I got hit by a truck. Me, my body.
My
And
God.
and
You're a walking
yeah,
miracle, woman.
so oh, 100%, 150%. But that's the
Mm,
kind of trauma I got to know. And I always,
mm.
you're like, well, God, what? But I
Right.
get it. Now I get that I have
Mm.
no trauma to help other people walk
Come
through their trauma.
on. That's
And look,
Mhm.
so
sometimes
good.
we crawl through that trauma. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? But
Yes.
mm,
I stand. I
mm.
You know
stand
what?
because God
Just
is
it
with
That's
me.
just
powerful.
it blows my mind. I'm trying to wrap my head around, but there's no yes, Yonette. I mean, that's kind of where I'm going too. It
Hmm.
blows my mind, God's tapestry. When you sit back and see
Mm,
how he weaves stuff, it's like mind boggling,
Mm,
because just to hear your description of all the things that he's placed, the skills and the talents and the gifts that he's placed in you, it may sound like chaos to somebody else, quite frankly, right? The whole ADHD and
100%.
right.
and you're like, oh, and by the way, then I had a fight with the truck and I lost, and all this other stuff coming, but what he shapes and molds out of it
Mm,
is amazing,
mhm, mhm.
Oh, yes,
because
absolutely.
your walk is so unique,
Yeah.
and the people that he's can send you are
Mm,
because of that journey.
mm,
Oh,
People
yes,
walk around
absolutely.
thinking they're a hot mess and they're no good for nothing, and meanwhile they're a freaking masterpiece. I, it blows my mind.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, that God, like you said, put together just perfectly so.
Right. Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So since you are well, one thing I want to say is, I love the fact that you have been able to identify the pain and the trauma that I've gone through is a setup for me to help someone else. Because some people may be stuck right in
Yes.
their pain. Some people may be
Oh,
stuck
yes.
right in their trauma. And so, where I want to
Mhm.
go from here is you being a certified trauma recovery specialist, right? So, we're not going to stay there. We are going
Yeah.
to recover. Let's talk about some of the emotions, maybe some of the feelings that you had while you were in those spaces, that it continually happened. Were you upset with God? Were you mad? Did you just automatically think, oh, this is working for my good? So let's talk a little bit about how you went from the trauma to actually recovering.
Well, it's interesting. So I did not even know or understand that I might have been depressed back
Mm,
then, because
mm-hmm,
my way of dealing with what I'm sure at this point in my life was depression was to eat.
Mm.
And
that's good.
like a whole lot of Black folks,
Mm-hmm,
food is love. And I grew up with grandmothers that could throw down. Now, mind you, I was outside playing when they were trying to teach the girls how to cook, so I'm not the one that could throw down. But I grew up being taught, here, baby, eat that. Oh, that, give that baby that. You know what I mean? So
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
ate my pain. And so
Mm-hmm.
mm,
after getting ready to go in to teach dance, mind you, and
yeah.
like at that point, a 4 or 5 time beauty pageant winner, and the bathing suit winner, I gained a
Come on.
hundred pounds in a year and a half.
Wow. Wow.
And
Talk about
again,
it though. That's so
just
good.
I laughed my way through it because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know
Mm,
any
Mm-hmm.
other way.
mm,
And
That's wild.
but as I continued to gain the weight, then I also said, well, this is what I got now. And so I entered another pageant, and I was crowned in 1989 Miss
mm,
Big Beautiful Doll in New York City. So again,
Wow.
God was teaching me even then that I even got you in this thing that you don't even know what's really going
mm,
on with you. You don't even know that you're depressed. You don't even know how
mm.
you're going to get through this. I got you. And so he
Mm.
encouraged me by letting me do
Along the
that.
way.
And
Mm,
let me tell you, y'all, it took me 20 years to release that
wow.
weight. That was pain. That was
Mm,
pain.
Wow.
come
That
on.
was
That's
fear.
so good.
That was
That is so
sadness.
good.
That was
Hmm.
Mhm.
fear, right? And I
Mm,
was wearing it. I was wearing it
mm.
all.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Talk about, I
powerful.
would love to hear the revelation that you had about some of the things that people like, the coming of age of you realizing, holy crap, I was depressed. I was
Hmm.
walking through life. I wasn't present, but
Mm,
God was still holding me up because that's
hmm.
what
Yes.
he does.
Yeah.
He's still
Yes.
making me shine. And I think that's the indicative of how people function naturally, unfortunately,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And we call it, I did a whole workshop, a whole summit on it called Unmask. We
Hmm.
walk through our entire lives wearing a mask. And in
Mm-hmm.
some cases, we even start to believe ourselves and that we have it all together when in
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
actuality we don't.
Right.
Talk about that as a therapist. What are some of the red flags,
Hmm.
those things that people can identify and say, whoa, I need some healing.
Hmm.
Yes. When everything is okay, everything's fine. Oh,
Hmm.
no,
Ah,
that's okay. That was fine. Oh, no, I'm
Hmm.
okay.
mm,
Oh,
Right.
no, I'm
That's right.
good, girl.
Hmm.
yeah.
Check on your good friend.
Mm,
Check on
Mm,
your friend who's always good.
mm,
Nothing phases her. You know, I had
mm,
to learn how to kick and scream and holler and fuss and cry
yeah.
because I
mhm,
was good. I was
Hmm.
good.
mm.
All the time.
I'm getting emotional now just thinking about, that, and y'all
Yeah.
know the rest. I just
Mm,
was
Mhm,
always good. But I
mhm,
learned that no, it's okay to not be okay. And as Black
mhm,
women in particular, we think
mhm.
we got to fix everything and
Yeah.
everybody, and that we have to be strong. And God
Yeah.
says, in your weakness,
Mm.
you are
Come
yes.
strong.
on. Come
Because
Yeah.
on.
He's the strength. And I get that. I get that so now.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
that I didn't have to be okay. Because I'm known for
Yeah.
being the happy girl. I'm the life of the party. I'm, all of that. And so I thought that was my job. I thought that was my role.
Yes.
But I
Yes.
realize now that the power comes from my truth
Come
of who I am,
on.
Mm.
been through, what I'm going through in the moment.
Yes.
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 Something I say in my truth might
Mhm.
be somebody else's truth that they haven't yet uncovered.
Come
Yeah.
on.
That's
Come
so
on.
And
good, isn't
so,
it, B?
Yes,
That, I
because
mean,
you get to go first, right?
yeah.
Sometimes we have to when we're healed enough or when we've just had enough. So I totally can relate to you. I think I'm in one of those seasons right now where I've just had enough. Like you, our personality is bubbly and happy and all of that. But God is teaching me that real relationship is in authenticity, not just with
ooh,
people, but
Mm.
with him as
Yes.
well. So, I recently had a situation where I had to step away from something. And before I would feel like, no, I just got to push through. I just got to keep going. Say all the scriptures, which I believe wholeheartedly,
Yes.
every single last one of them. But I also know that coupled with therapy, that coupled with just some sisterhood, all of
hello.
those things is a great equation for becoming a healthy person. We have to be able to be vulnerable, to be able to say, no, I'm not okay. And then
Yes.
we have to be on the other end. And I want you to talk a little bit about this, what we can do when someone brings their vulnerability to us, because I don't want to be that cliche friend that just gives a word. Oh, girl, you're
Yes.
going to be okay because Romans 8:28 says God
Oh,
will turn it around.
oh,
And that's true. So can you teach us on the other side of being a friend, how we can meet someone at their point of need without over spiritualizing it, if I can say, even though I want to make
Yes.
it clear, prayer is essential. Pray for your
Absolutely.
friends. But how do we
Absolutely.
meet people so they are comfortable, even that we're creating a safe space for people to come and be authentic?
Ooh, I just got chills. So I can share this by sharing about my friend.
Mm,
And she's probably asleep because we early over here, but Miss
mhm,
Chantel Denise
mm,
um, has been the person who
mhm,
has allowed me to recognize that it's okay to not be okay in this
mm,
season that I'm in right now.
yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
You all know
mhm.
that COVID, we all have our COVID horror story.
Yeah.
And my COVID horror story came on February 2nd
I'm tearing
of
up
this year.
already.
Yeah,
Tearing up already.
when I lost my dear, amazing, sweet, wonderful husband to that horrible disease or virus.
Right.
And it came out of nowhere. We were both good. Uh, January 17th, neither one of us could stay awake, you know.
Mhm,
Um, and we were sick and really sick. I have asthma, I have atrial fibrillation.
mm,
So I was at high risk. My husband also was at high risk, but he didn't make it. He did not make it. And it was the COVID pneumonia that finally took him out, took his
Mm.
life.
mm,
And my husband was my solid rock,
Yeah.
is still, because
mm,
even from up above, he is holding me down.
Amen.
mm,
But he my friend Chantel and her husband were our couple. And
mhm.
when when my husband passed, there were 9 women, y'all. It takes a village to
Yes.
hold down even adults, right? There were
Yes.
9 women in my front yard. I was day 16 of COVID. I was sitting at the front up by my door near the stoop, and they were in their cars and on the grass and all out there with me, because it was one of those things where they put him on a ventilator. My husband coded 5 times. He was trying to stay here, y'all.
Yeah.
And when I lost my husband, and all my girls were there, that was the strength that God sent me, that I was going to be okay, because he had me and he had handpicked the people that were going to walk this journey with me.
Yes.
My first cousin lives with me. I don't live alone. She is the focus pieces of me. She's the part of me that says, not that way, this way.
Mm-hmm.
And you better rethink that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the people in my life, my friend Chantel has let me howl and cry and scream. She's howled and cried and screamed with me. She has helped me to just be. She sits with me and doesn't say a word sometimes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
a friend who can do that.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
here's a huge piece, y'all. I learned this from her, and that is, I can come with it and I can just lay it all out there, and she will say, did you want some feedback, or did you just need
Yes. Yes.
And when you do that,
So good.
you just open up a door for people to be able to just vent if that's what they need, or if they need you to hold their hand or speak something into them, because this woman has spoken God's love into me so many times. And I'm so blessed and so grateful that not only do I have God, but I have God's people who walk with me through the most difficult, the most heartbreaking, heart-wrenching thing that I've been. And I lost my daddy, the first love of my life. I lost my daddy in 2018. And you know, they say you grow up and you marry your dad. I kind of did. My husband was so much like my dad. He treated me like glass. I grew up like that. And my husband woke me up every morning, coffee, breakfast, and a bubble bath every morning. And my husband would, you know, he had his own health challenges, but he never complained. He never complained. He taught me what real love between a man and a woman is supposed to look like. And so every second I miss him. I can't cry off these lashes now.
I didn't put none on today. I mess with you.
Yeah.
But see, you got glasses though. So it works. But everything that every emotion that I go through, and every time I recognize that this loss is so great, and that this is the hardest walk I've had. And y'all know I've been dragged by a truck, by a taxi. I've been hit by a truck. All of that, none of it measures to this pain. None of it. But what I recognize is that God gave me the perfect man for me. He gave me the man that loved me the way God loves the church. He gave me the man that would uplift me, the man that would support all my crazy, the man that would love me and be the wind beneath my wings, the way that my family had been. And my my friends, when William passed, I made friends with a woman who enrolled me into my doctoral program. And so she's my enrollment counselor and my friend. And now she came down to an event that I'm the president of the Black Women's Network, and she came down to our event the last time we could have one live in 2019. And she said that she watched my husband watch me up on the stage. And she said that she thought to herself, I need a man to look at me like that at least one time before. And she's not the only person that said that. I met with a woman who met my husband like just around the same time that I did, because I was doing a play and he came to the play. And so the cast met him and we were like right at the beginning of dating. Wow. And she's watched us go through and she said to me just the other day, I would come to your shows and I would watch the way that he watched you. And she said, make me smile. So though my heart breaks every time I think about the loss, I live in full gratitude. That's how I make it through every single day. Just grateful that God gave me such a man in my life. And that I got to be loved in that way.
Yes.
It's so amazing.
Yeah. It's some people that will live how long and will never experience that. So your perspective, of gratitude, I could see how that is helping you to navigate this season, and all good things come from God. So we know that he was a gift, right?
Yes.
God gave you,
Yes, he was.
So I have this question to ask. And when it came to me, I was like, oh, that's good. Like I didn't even like I'm like, oh, that's good. So I have
she's a treat, isn't she, Shawn? She a treat.
She's wonderful. I have loved her from the day I met y'all both. I love y'all both.
I love you too.
So I have to, I'm a good girl, so let me just take a sip here.
Come on.
Like this is a good one.
if you go sip in style, okay?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Thank you, cousin Marquita.
Another plug. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
We believe in plugs around here. So this came to me and I was like, wow, God. So Tanya and I, you have all experienced loss, grief, trauma. Not a husband with Tanya, her dad, me, both my parents. And what I recognize with my mom is when you have someone that loves you in a special way. My mom was like very, very special. I had to learn how to have a different type of relationship with God once you've experienced that type of loss. So talk to us about how that relationship with God changed or is changing, or is that even your experience?
No, 100% it is. Yes. So for me, I find that a lot of times I go to people first. Something will happen and I will grab that phone. I just said this the other day to my girlfriend. I was like, okay, I went to God. Now you need to call me.
Yeah. That's real. Yes. But
I and so I feel like I had these great people surrounding me. I lost both of my parents too. My mother passed when she was the age that I am right now. 61. Unexpected. It's all been unexpected, except my daddy. My daddy had cancer. But those were my rocks.
Yeah.
And of course, God is the foundation. God is the rock. We were born loving, learning to love God and grew up with all of that. But when you have this kind of loss, my mom, my dad, and then finally my husband, I have to get up every single morning every
Mhm.
single morning
Mhm.
and and reach out to God in a different way,
Yes. Yes,
very different
ma'am.
way. You know,
Mm.
it's so incredible that I literally get up in the morning and I thank God. I wake
Mhm.
up crying because that man is not next to me anymore. And I thank
Mhm.
God rather
Mhm.
than scream and holler and be like,
Mhm.
"Ugh," you know, I
Mhm.
have to thank God first that he
Mhm.
woke me
Yes.
up, held on
That's
to me through
powerful.
COVID. I got to still be here
Yeah.
and do what God assigned me to do. And,
Mhm.
you know, it becomes really emotional sometimes because, you know, God has been blessing my life and, you know, in spite of all that has happened, God keeps
Mhm.
showing up. He keeps showing up. And so I
Mhm.
have
Yes.
to grab him every day and say, thank you.
Yeah.
I see you. I see
Yeah.
what you're doing here. And I get it. Even though
Mhm.
I don't have that man to celebrate it with me, you're still
Mhm.
blessing me. And he's sitting next to you watching this. You know,
Mhm.
I have to think
Yes.
Yes.
about how there's no way, you know, how we say, oh, but God,
Yeah.
y'all, it's a whole new understanding of but
Come
Hmm.
God,
on.
because
Come
I
on.
could get out of the bed
Mhm.
every
Yes.
and do what I do and
Mhm.
go and sit and show up
Yes.
for other people
Yeah.
if
Yes.
it was not God saying, okay,
God.
baby girl, you got
Yeah.
this.
Yes.
Yes. I got you and you
Yes.
got this.
Yes. And
Yes.
you got this. Here's the compassion you're gonna need.
I just got chills because
Mm.
I
All of
mean
Yeah.
that.
that's what we walk in if
Mhm.
we're
Yes.
smart,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
If we
Yes.
allow him to hold the position that
Mm.
he's supposed to be in,
Yeah.
then you're gonna go to daddy. And
Yes.
that's real talk though, Shawn LaRe. I appreciate that because you are a therapist, you are a counselor,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
are a
Mhm.
healer,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And you have a blueprint that you follow
Yeah.
for others. But if
Yes.
you
Yes.
don't have a place to go for
Mhm.
your blueprint to work
Right.
itself out,
Yes.
Absolutely.
you can't bleed on other people,
Woo.
Right. 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 Right.
you
So good.
know?
So good.
So
Yes.
you have to meet with him in the tabernacle. You
Yes.
guys
Yes.
have to connect in that special
Yeah.
way
Yes.
Yeah.
because you're the keeper of his saints.
Right.
You're taking care of his saints too. So I got you, baby, and you got them.
Yes.
So true.
You know, the way that I get to speak about God. And as a therapist, you know, you walk into the room, you don't put your faith and your beliefs and your everything onto the people
Right,
Mhm.
right,
that you work with. But I
Right.
am very vocal and very clear on my profiles. It says Christian
Mhm.
right.
therapy
Mhm.
is offered.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean if you're not a Christian, you can't come to me, but please know that I'm a God
Mhm.
girl.
Yeah.
Right.
So I will say to someone, tap into your higher power. I'm a
Mhm.
God girl.
Right.
Don't
Mhm.
know what that is for you,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
no way that, and because when what I have to hold on to my happiness and my joy, you know,
Mhm.
and people bring things into the room that make you angry,
Mhm.
that
Yes.
you can feel the pain.
Mhm.
You can it just takes up the space. I mean,
Mhm.
the things that people go through
Right.
and
Mhm.
are faced with are
Yeah.
just woo,
Mhm.
amazing and what we would think are unbearable. So God
Mhm.
also
Mhm.
holds me like this and he gives me this force field that when those things come,
Yes.
they don't
Mhm.
Yes.
they don't come inside me because people say,
Penetrate
well, how
you.
do you do
Right.
it?
Yes.
I can't let
Yeah.
it penetrate. I can
Yeah.
have the passion in the moment.
Mhm.
God gives me the words to say.
Mhm.
And every day I say, God, not your words, not mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Your
Love
words,
that.
not mine. You know
So
what? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, just I just said yeah.
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 I love that.
So, why I think that question was so relevant and you unpacked it so well is that many times we don't know that we put people, things in God's stead, right? So, for me, my mom was always my first go to, not God. not all the time, sometimes, but Mom, what do you think about this? Mom, what do you think about this? Mom, what do you think about this?
Yes.
And I remember when I got the epiphany after she died, like, um, okay. So I actually had to ask God, now you have to teach me how to let you mother me.
Mm.
Wow.
Ooh. Wow. Yeah.
It may be somebody else that say, now you have to teach me how to let you be my father.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to be my husband now.
Mm.
Yes.
You see how
Yes.
amazing I didn't even know until my mother was gone how much I put her in God's stead. Because now he's taught me, you should have been coming to me all along
All
first.
along.
But he's so compassionate that he
Yes,
didn't
he
make me
is.
feel bad or guilty. It was so beautiful how he showed it to me. Like all roads really do lead back to me, Venetia. All
Yes.
roads.
Yes.
And so
Oh
I
yeah.
think it's so powerful what you just said. And I know it helps someone. It definitely reminded me that really, no matter in our loss, our trauma, even at our height of success and all of those things, God really wants to be everything to us and that first source, and then he tells us who our resource is. That's what I love about him. So I can go to him first, and then he'll tell me in prayer, now reach out to Shawn LaRe. He's so dope. He like, I
Yes.
know I'm the source, but I know you human. You want like this tangible. So I'm going to
Yes.
tell you who it is
It
that I want you to
is.
go to, that I'm going to download a word, or I'm going to give them that compassion, or I'm going to give them, you know what I mean? What you need tangibly in that moment. That's the type of God that we serve. And so I
Ooh.
think that is so powerful,
It is.
what you shared, and even in your vulnerability, because people don't be real with that. No, he should be, but sometimes my emotions is just so out of control. I'm like, I need somebody tangible. Talk to me.
Yes.
So I just thank you for just being that real and transparent.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that draws people to you. I
Mhm.
honestly believe that because
Yeah.
you are a healer.
Yeah.
But so, a lot of people will say, well, I can't let people know I'm not okay. I can't talk about the fact that I'm hurting and I still miss my husband because I'm a marriage therapist. I'm a family therapist. I'm supposed to have it together. I'm supposed to be
Mm.
on point 24/7, and I'm not
Mhm.
supposed to hurt, or at least not let anybody know.
Mm.
What the heck?
Mm.
Talk about that, Shawn LaRe. What the heck?
Yeah.
Ooh. Let me tell you something. It is so funny because I have told off some couples in my office lately.
Come
I've
on,
been like,
keep it real.
what is wrong with y'all? I mean,
Mhm.
really.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I have had to come there. I have gone and I have said, any minute,
Mhm.
something could happen to her, something could happen to him. And
Mm.
you sitting here crying over the spilled milk,
Yeah.
literally fussing about who
Mm.
didn't say what and who did. Stop it. I do
Mm.
it now
Mhm.
all the time. I don't
Yeah.
apologize for it. It's like, you got to get this. You
Yeah.
need to
Yes.
understand.
Mm.
I am telling you that tomorrow is
Mm.
so not promised.
Yes.
Jesus.
I know it from the taxi. I know it from
Yes.
the truck.
Mhm.
I know
Mhm.
it from both taxis and the
Mhm.
truck and the traumatized 15-year-old that knocked me on my behind and knocked me out. And that
Wow.
I'm gonna have back surgery as a result of.
Mm. Mhm.
I know it's not
Jesus.
promised you.
Yeah.
And so now my sweet, sweet husband is gone,
Mhm.
and y'all sitting here with this mess. Oh
Right.
no. So once
Yeah.
again, my
Mhm.
trauma has
Mhm.
given me clarity.
Come on.
Yes. Yes.
Boldness. Mhm.
Clarity and
Yes.
boldness.
Yes.
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 Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. I see
You
that.
know, when you recognize that every second is so precious. Every
Mhm.
second is so precious. And
Mhm.
even in just coaching, I can tell women, honey, that fear that you're walking in,
Mhm.
it's going to keep you sitting there. I need you to get
Mhm.
up.
Mm.
Hmm.
I need you to get up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes.
because you never know who needs to hear your message. You
My God.
never know what day
Mhm.
is the
That's
day
so
that God
true.
needs you back home.
Mm,
And
that's so
so I
true.
just, you got to live this life. It is a gift.
Mm.
Yeah, that is so good.
Shawn LaRe, do you feel like you're living life more on purpose now?
Absolutely.
Mm.
100%. Absolutely.
Mm. I feel
I
that.
mean,
I
even to
felt
the,
that.
thank you.
Mhm.
I even reached out after my husband passed. I I was like, I couldn't sleep at all.
Mm.
Um, my doctor sent me to a psychiatrist to get sleep medication,
Mm.
and I still won't take it. But here's the thing. No, wait, listen, this is crazy. Because what I've learned helps me to go to sleep is to turn on my TV. And I want to see
Mm.
stuff for a few minutes at least. And I'm
Mhm.
afraid if I take that thing, it'll take me out and I won't get to see the
Mhm.
show because I only get to watch TV at night. So I know that's ridiculous. That's the
FOMO
truth.
puts you to sleep.
It
FOMO
works.
is
It
a
works for you.
natural thing.
Puts me
It's a,
right out. But here's the
I feel
thing.
you.
What I learned is that my ADHD was turned up 20
Mm.
notches because there's grief brain where you
Oh, that makes
forget
sense.
everything.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense. And I went back to school way too soon. I went back to school April 1st. My husband passed on February 2nd.
Mm.
No, girl. We
No,
hadn't even
girl.
had service yet. No, girl. Don't do
No,
that.
girl.
So in
Yes.
August,
No, girl.
I'm on a break. I'm on a 15-week break. November ends the 15 weeks. I believe I'm not going back until January 2022.
Good for you. Good for
Yes.
Cool your
you.
jets, girl. Slow down.
Yes.
Sit down.
You just said a thing right there, girl.
And
Mm-hmm.
if you need medication, get
Mm-hmm.
it.
That's
Because
right.
I actually have been that therapist that's been like, well, there are a lot of holistic ways. My practice is called Living Loved Pathways to Holistic Healing. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes what's going on in your body,
Come on,
it ain't enough breathing you can do
Right.
Jesus.
to
It
calm down
manifests
this
in other
energy that.
ways.
Yes.
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 And so I actually got medication for my ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't sure if it was working. I knew that when I was in school, I could okay, yeah, I got a lot done to,
Mm-hmm.
focus, really
Mm-hmm.
like boom.
Mhm.
But I stopped taking it when I stopped school, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
was in therapy the other day, and my therapist said, "So, are you still taking your medication?" I said, "Taking it lately." She goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna need you to take that." I love
Yeah.
her. I've got
Yeah.
to love her.
I love her
She
too.
she said, "Yeah, because I usually can follow you. I
Mm-hmm.
can't follow you today. You're kind of all over the
Mm-hmm.
place."
Yeah. Take it for me. Take it,
Okay,
Physician,
mama.
heal
take it for
thyself. Yes.
me and
Yes.
our visit. Okay. But
Yes.
Shawn LaRe, you said something and we cannot we can't move past it. You said that you started school in April. Your husband had passed in February. What made you think that you were ready to be up in school trying to concentrate in the book? Because I'm over here looking like, yeah, no, ma'am. Have a seat. But what made
Listen,
you feel?
girl,
Talk to me about that, please.
so here's how God had to humble me. I have never failed a class in my entire life
Mm-hmm.
until then. And
Mm.
so I told them, I was like, look, this is not, I gotta, I honestly thought that it would
Yeah.
help distract me.
Mm.
And it just made me crazy. My brain was
Mhm.
like, I'm trying to tell you, I can't do this.
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
do this. No,
Yeah.
child, but I'm gonna write this paper. I'm gonna write this paper now.
Mhm.
It's like,
I've been there. I know.
no, you're
Mhm.
not.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do that.
Yeah. I've
And
been
so
there.
I literally
That's
was like,
crazy.
I can't finish this class.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an F, give me an F, a D, and a
I'm
C.
out
I
of
don't
here.
care.
Yeah. Shawn,
I
LaRe, the
need my
same
peace.
thing happened to me. And,
Yeah.
and it was a Spanish class. Hello, I speak Spanish. I just couldn't do it.
Right.
I couldn't,
Right.
we're talking writing
Mm-hmm.
papers and reading
Mm-hmm.
chapters. It was Spanish, I think 5 or 4 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what are
Mm-hmm.
you? I can't. Everything is a
Yeah.
fog.
Yeah.
Everything, I was
Yeah.
just floating. But I
A
think
fog there.
yeah, it was a
Mm-hmm.
huge
That's the
fog.
word.
That
Yes.
is.
I
That's
think
Listen,
it's
it.
high performance,
it
Shawn LaRe.
is.
You do that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You coach on that too. And I think high
Mm-hmm.
performance people,
Yeah.
their heads work different. You're like, I gotta
Mm-hmm.
finish this. I gotta do this.
Right.
I gotta,
Right.
So
Yes. This
what do you
says if
say to
I
your
don't.
people? Yeah.
Well, it's like get rid of the story. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had a story in my
Mm.
head about
Yes,
what
That's
it
so
would mean
good.
if I
that's good.
stop school right now.
Yes.
Story I told myself.
Yeah.
Girl.
You're a transformational performance coach. You're a licensed marriage
Mm-hmm.
family therapist. You are
Right. You got
human.
this. Push
Boo.
through.
Sit down.
Mm-hmm.
You are human.
You're
Sit your ass
human.
down right
Say
now.
it one more again for the
Critic.
people in the back.
You
Yes.
are human.
Yes. You're a human.
Human.
And I really thought, honestly, it's crazy because I really thought, oh yeah, April, that's enough time. I should be fine April 1st. I had not had his service yet, y'all. When my husband passed, funeral homes and crematoriums were working on people who had passed in December. He passed February 2nd.
Wow.
We did not get to have his service until April the 21st.
Mm.
And the only way that my husband was even able to get into the funeral home is because my sister-in-law is a funeral services director at that home. Because from the time that he passed, when they had space, and the time that they picked him up that Saturday, he passed on Tuesday, they picked him up on Saturday, they were full.
Wow.
But they were like, oh, this is Jesse's brother.
Mm-hmm.
And so this COVID thing and the loss that people have experienced as a result of COVID is like grief personified.
Yeah.
It's like 10 times the grief outside of a pandemic because there are all these other factors
That's right.
that have been piled on top of what is just already unspeakable
Traumatic.
pain and trauma.
Right.
So there's the trauma of you cannot even close the piece of the grief that is honoring your loved one into his final resting place. Okay. And we know, the soul leaves the body when God takes the breath and all of that, and that's a shell, but that was the shell that held the man that I loved.
Right.
And to consider that he had to sit in a space untaken care of,
Yeah.
and
it's disturbing. Yeah.
it's so disturbing. And and then that, but I also gotta say that I always say God does all things well. And what I've added to that is not just when I like it.
Come on.
The fact, but
That
the fact that there's no way I would have been able to stand up and have a service and be present and honor my husband in the way that I wanted to had I had to bury him the traditional 2 weeks or 2 weeks following his death.
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah.
But God knew that April 21st, I was actually able to stand up and speak through the tears and share about that great man.
That's God. Now that is where I see Romans 8:28 that really, showed up in your life, that God turned that situation around. So he allowed you the time to process, to go through some healing, right? Because I'm sure you're still healing, but healing enough that you were able, like you said, to be present. So we can't deny that in every season, that God is with us, that He's for us, that He's
Yes.
strengthening us. And I just, to see you sitting here, today, we have a very close girlfriend who lost her husband as well, in the midst of COVID. And what you just said was so powerful, to recognize that it's grief on top of grief. So you already have to grieve because of your loved one, but then a lot of people are grieving the fact that they weren't even able to lay their loved ones to rest. I know her funeral service was extremely limited, extremely. I don't even know if they could have 50 people there. And so I think, you just brought up a very good point, even for us to even be to be even more compassionate towards people that have lost
Yes.
individuals, you know what I mean, in this season. And so I appreciate your
Yes.
candidness and
Yes.
educating us.
Yes.
Um,
Grace.
yes, grace.
Yeah,
Mm,
it's jarring, and
mhm.
death of a loved one is already traumatic.
Yeah.
But then to have
Oh,
compounded situation on top of that, it jars you. It jars you
Mm,
physically, it jars you
absolutely.
mentally,
yeah.
emotionally.
Mm,
All of that manifests too in health. I mean, that's a whole nother
yeah.
show, so it's a lot.
Mhm.
It's a lot. And my God, I'm grateful for
Yeah.
your resilience.
Yes,
I am so grateful for your resilience. And
absolutely.
we're coming to a close, and I want to
Mhm.
be mindful of everyone's time and just say, I'm just so thankful, Benicia and I both are, that you came in, that you were so
Yeah.
raw in sharing who you are
Mhm.
and the layers that made you who you are. And we haven't
Mhm.
even peeled back half of those layers.
Right.
So you need to come back. But what I would love for you to do, Shawn
Mhm.
LaRe, is maybe we'll do a live show. When Benicia and I come out to visit you,
Oh,
we'll
that
do a
would be
show from the
cool.
garden, right? We'll
Yeah.
do a show from the garden.
All the way from
Yes.
Florida.
I would love that.
I would love for you to share your heart before we leave.
Yeah.
Just a minute or two of what it means for you on this journey of resilience,
Mhm.
because you are resilience personified, and you are still working on it. And that's what I love about you. You're
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
clear about that.
Mhm.
There's no shame.
Yeah.
So please share. I want you to speak to whoever God puts on your heart to speak to.
Yeah. I think that for me at this time, as I continue every day to get up and try to still walk this journey, um, I recognize that it takes time. I recognize that where I am now is not where I will be a month from now and 6 weeks from now, and that I have to hold on and cling to God to just know that I will be able to make it through, and I don't have to know what the journey is going to look like. I don't have to um, have like a vision into what this grief healing is going to look like, but I just have to be willing to take the walk every day. And the only way that I can do that is by clinging to God and God's people and recognizing the gifts that I still have, even though I no longer have my William Joseph. I have his family, I have my family, I have my friends, I have my work, which I love. And I also have to keep reminding myself that it is okay to stop, to just take a moment to breathe and to be present. I'm a mindful practitioner. I use mindfulness in my practice, but I use mindfulness in my personal life as well. Because I am someone who goes quickly and moves fast, I have to take time to breathe and to ground myself and be present. And so my prayer has turned into prayer and meditation and being still and seeking peace, because I believe that God wants that for us, even when he brings us to things that feel insurmountable and that we won't be able to recover from, that what he wants for us is peace. And so I live each day seeking peace in my life, even through the grief, even through the pain, even through the hurt and the sorrow and the devastation, because all of those things are part of my life now. But I know that the gift was William Joseph. And because I had him in my life, I can continue to walk this journey, holding on to God and trusting that God brought me to it and he will bring me through it. With prayer and petition, I am going to be okay. And so I am grateful for every second of this journey that I get to have. And I will leave y'all with my husband's statement, which I'm adopting as my own, and that is shalom, y'all. And that is just peace. So thank you.
So awesome, sis. You
So
are an amazing, and it's all through the chat, Valerie. It's like you're built to last. You're an amazing woman of God.
Yeah.
Everybody's so appreciative of your transparency.
Yes.
And you exude that peace that you talk about. It's just, it pours out from you. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your yes, right? Because you know, it's not yes one time. It's yes, not even
Yes.
daily. It could be seconds, right? And I love what you said
Yes.
earlier is when it feels good and when it doesn't feel good. So you've made a decision, whatever side of the fence I'm on, God is me and you. You know, like you said, if you bring me to it, you're going to bring me through it. And you're
I
a
love
living
that.
example of that. You're a living example of that. And so thank you for sharing your story. Thank you
Thank you
for your courage, you know, and your boldness. And we just appreciate you so much. And I know everyone, as Tanya said, really enjoyed the segment. We have so many comments. We get a lot of playback. And we love having guests on that helps change our mindset, that educates us. And I think you've done an amazing job at doing that today. So thanks again.
Thank you. I love you
Shawn
both.
Yes.
We love you
so much,
too.
guys, for having me on. You know, it's so funny. I got to share this because, you know, I'm silly. I just recognized that my earrings are on backwards, y'all.
Oh, no.
Look,
we
but
didn't even
you
know.
know,
We
you
knew
have
though.
a this
We
way or
felt
that
the
way. We
power.
can't look. The power translates.
Look, either way.
Because
Either
you got to
way.
see the sparkle. The
Okay.
sparkle. The rhinestone. Please forgive me, Rosalind.
You represented, girl. You represented. And we want to say thank you so much to our guests.
I love you guys,
that
and you are
joined.
welcome to Cali anytime.
Oh,
we're coming.
you. I've never been, so I'm like geeked about coming to Cali. Yes, I gotta get this body ready though. This
I know all the places to take.
Yes.
Excited.
We're coming. Valerie's on, and she's like, "Yes, you come on." She's over there. Come on.
Thank you, Valerie.
Wow.
Thanks again, sis. We'll see you in the green room. I know.
Right.
We're gonna wrap up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, y'all live loved.
Yes, ma'am.
I love that.
Wasn't she amazing? God is so good.
Absolutely amazing. You see, my eyes are just
I
full of
know.
water today, but I always feel so. I always leave the podcast so encouraged, you know. And I'm always encouraged. Everyone who joins, we just want you to know that we don't take you for granted. We appreciate you being in the room with us. Yanette and Valerie, Amora was on, and so many more. KB, KCB Ministries, you know, our faithful viewers, Yanette, all of you, Brenda. We can't say that we we could do this without you. The one thing that we ask is please, please, please share this broadcast, not for our numbers, but even just the way Facebook works with all the algorithms and things of that nature. It really helps to get the podcast in front of more people. In addition, we do have a YouTube page. So if you have not subscribed, head over to it. Tanya, you want to tell them about our YouTube page?
Yes, it's right here, and you'll see it above the YouTube logo. It's
Yeah.
ariseandshine.live. So please go there and subscribe so we can keep you informed. You'll get notified. So even if you don't have Facebook handy, you will get an email and be able to connect with us. And if you want to support the show, then also there is the QR code where we love the support. We'd appreciate it, as we continue to do what we need to do to bring you the absolute best. Thank you, Bernadette. You are beautiful too, sweetie.
Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, love her. So also I wanted to mention, guys, guess what? Arise and Shine's anthology is coming out. So we want you involved. You talk about a story of rising, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is your opportunity. You don't want to do a whole book that overwhelms you. Then you can do a chapter in the Arise and Shine anthology. And we are looking for authors. So if you go, I'll put the link in the comments. And if you go to bit.ly, Arise and Shine now, you can get all the necessary information because it is going to be an amazing book. So I'm looking forward. I know.
I get to put author under my belt.
That's
on.
right, ma'am. That's right.
I mean, we know you've written several in 1 year, mind you.
That's how I spent the COVID season.
Yes. So I'm coming up on the tail end, but it's going to be amazing. I'm very, 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 very excited.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys next week. We'll have another great show for you. Actually, we have a superpower couple that's coming on, and they are so energetic and amazing, kind of like Shawn LaRe. They come with their own battery pack. So get ready, because I don't know. He's a coach, she's a coach, and they love on each other. They're just a power pack. So we're looking forward to having them. So come back. Yes, Benicia is a comedy. She sure is. She is a standalone comedy. Yes, Valerie.
Valerie.
You guys have a great week.
Bye. We love you. Thank you.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye.